It's the final countdown in the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing series. Tonight, just 3 drivers are locked in. Many more look to lock themselves into the second round here in the Heartland. This 1.5-mile track is hard on tires and even harder on gas tanks. Which driver will play the strategy right? We'll find out in just a little while. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to FTF.GG's coverage of the 7th race for the 2022 eNASCAR Qualifying iRacing Series, live from iRacing's virtual Kansas Speedway from Kansas City, Kansas. Glad to have you along for the ride, everybody. Jacob Hitz, James Pike alongside in the booth. Caleb Hoffman, I think he got trapped at like the hot dog stand or something. He's on his way. Justin Malillo. Oh, he is. You need to tell me these things before we go live. Caleb's here. Justin Malillo is down on pit road. He's going to be very busy tonight with all of the pit strategy that we've got going on. And James, as I mentioned in the open, strategy. That's the name of the game here tonight.
I think in the Coke Series race in Charlotte, and I almost feel like, especially if we get a long green flag run or two, that this will be a microcosm of that. Whether or not you want to split runs, whether or not you want to short pit, whether or not you want to run long, if we go green, it definitely can make a difference here. And the question is going to be, how much green flag racing do we get? Of course, if we get a rash of yellow somewhere in this, it throws strategy out the window. But it is not particularly windy, very sunny. Insert, we're not home anymore trope, and or tornadoes, and or sunflowers, and or some college basketball team that won a national title, I guess, if you'd like Jayhawks. This is a toucan, right? I think. I don't know. But regardless, my brain is all over the place, but it is also all excited about tonight's race at Kansas. That much I can guarantee you.
And I was going to use that no place like home thing in 2 weeks' time when we go to Charlotte.
Caleb, that is
right. Caleb and or Justin, though I hesitate to ask, we've had very few cautions. They've been few and far between through these first 6 races. Last week may have been the least clean that we've been so far. As the tires start to wear, trucks start to slide around a little bit, you're going to be using that right rear a lot more. Is tonight the night where we really see a lot of junked race trucks?
Well, Jacob, a lot of people are going to be on their last opportunities to possibly make it into the top 70. So there's going to be a lot more aggression going on out there on this track. And this track is going to also lead itself to a lot more passing opportunities as well, because they're going to be packed up pretty tight out there as well. So, yeah, hopefully it should be a good, fun show for tonight.
And we know that, as per usual, you'll be watching the points as well as things progress throughout the night, and we wrap up, other splits wrap up, and we kind of see what points come in by the time we go off the air. As I mentioned, 3 drivers are currently locked in. Let me pull it up right now. It's Seth the Merchant, Tucker Minter, and Parker White. Those are the 3 that are locked in. They've all been in top split all year long. Some guys that, you'll see here tonight that are in this split: Daniel Eberhardt, Dalton Collins, Christian Peterson. They are all inside the top 10, looking to lock themselves in here tonight. Qualifying is done here from Kansas. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting grid. Ryan Doucette will line up on pole position. Christopher Cornell lines up to the outside. Brendan Kohler and Kevin King make up row number 2. Then it's Max Brady, James Wenzel, Wyatt Tinsley, the winner 2 weeks ago, Nate Stewart, Clayton Hoffman, and Brandon Hoff. Your top 10, James.
Agno Phillips starts in the 11th position. Justin Knobloch rolls off from 12th. 13th is where you'll find Christopher Hill. Michael Finlayson starts in the 14th position. 15th belongs to Daniel Eberhardt. Jared Torres starts 16th this evening. 17th on the grid is Eddie Kerner. Connor Horn starts from the 18th position. 19th and 20th on the grid are Octavio Rondoletto and Liam Sheen.
21st, Tommy Gossett with Barrett Bonner to the outside. Then Caden Rush, Chris Wilhite in row number 12. Michael Bumgarner and Mitchell Hunt make up row 13. Connor Shong, Dalton Collins in row 14. PJ Evans, Cody Terlindi back there rounding out the top 30. And then your final 4, Christian Peterson, Shane Williamson, Landon Mills, and shotgun on the field, Jordan Worth. That's your field of 34 here tonight from Kansas. And in our booth chat, Jordan Worth writes in, "I'm going to win this race. From last on the grid, I like his odds."
I do like it. Also, shout out to Justin Malillo for the very, very complex backdoor Wizard of Oz reference. Notice how he pulled that little photo of Caleb away. Is it not a little bit like the wizard coming out from behind the curtain at the end of the movie? That's Harvard level big brain, I think, from Justin Malillo to start the show off, and I feel like we deserve to tip our caps to them.
And the tremendous athletics as well to get from the broadcast booth down to pit road, where he'll be for the rest of the night.
That's right up.
Nonetheless, already, Christopher Cornell is blinking, and we haven't even gotten going, so there's something to keep our eye on. Do you have a pick to win the race? I know we haven't seen any track time with these guys, James, but quickly before we get the green flag.
We have 100 laps to figure out who's going to win this race, and I honestly have no clue, no predictions. I'm here to watch it all play out, just as everybody else is.
All right, green flag in the air. Doucette is on the gas, and we are racing from Kansas. Green flag. It's a clean opening lap, and Ryan Doucette gets out of the gate strong. He will lead the opening lap. Cornell right behind in second. Brennan John Kohler, Max Brady in third and fourth. Brady has Kevin King to the outside.
Action there right around that fourth or fifth position. Brady to the inside, King to the outside, and Kohler, I think, very happy to see all of this happening in his rear view mirror. They haven't really settled out within that 10th to 20th range, and then it's interesting. Everybody at the front, everybody at the back, already single file. It's the middle of this field where everyone's door to door.
It's almost like a hurricane. We're in the center of it all. It's, pandemonium. It's shuffling for position, and perhaps these guys in the middle think that when they're close enough together, that's when they can make the most moves on the guys that are around them instead of just trying to set somebody up one at a time, perhaps like we saw 2 weeks ago when we were at Dover.
It's something that, look at that movement there in the middle of the pack. I think that might have been Daniel Eberhardt, who may have come off of Clayton Hoffman once or twice on corner exit, but I saw a very sudden bobble there on that inside lane. So already bouncing off of each other here in Kansas in the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing series.
You barely have room to go 3 wide here. If you go anything more than that, you're certainly not going to make it through the corner as these guys are stacking up. Nate Stewart on the bottom getting a little sideways. They're all able to hang on. They all check up in time. That could have been big for a moment. Looks like there might even be a little bit of damage to the right side of Eberhardt's car, or truck rather, going into one.
Maybe not. If anything, it's incidental at best. At best. But
yeah.
Not something you have to worry about now. There are other things that can happen here that you will want to be much more worried about with regards to damage if we get into that sort of spot.
And he just sends it 3 wide again, right on Nate Stewart and on Justin Knobloch, and he makes the pass work. He gets the 2-piece, and he'll fall in behind Agnell Phillip. The top 10 or so single file. It's right behind Eberhardt with Knobloch and Nate Stewart. The first side-by-side battle is Christopher Hill. He's up the hill big time, and he's going to drop back and fall to the pressure to Agnell Phillip.
All right, 1, Christopher Hill up the hill. 2,
I didn't try that.
I know. So Eberhardt got the 2-piece with that pass. If he gets into the top 10, does that make it a 10-piece?
We'd have to pass all 10 guys and get to the front first in order to get that 10-piece. I think that's how it works.
Where's Vargas when we need him for the best way to sort this out, I think.
Six laps complete here at Kansas, and Brennan Hoff got shuffled around. He's blinking a little bit right behind Hill and in front of Phillip as everyone single file all the way back to Jared Torres in the 25. He's up riding the wall, and I think I expected at least. I ran a race here earlier on this afternoon, watched Blake McCandless do some laps here in the trucks. I expected these guys to be up more along the outside. It really saves your tires, but instead, this lead pack is holding the fort down on the bottom.
The same thing we saw, and the same thing that I thought going into Homestead Miami in the Contender Series last year, where we know in real life you can run that outside lane up against the fence, and we know in sim, traditionally, it's the high line, especially with the Cup cars, both the Gen 6s and the next gens, that end up being fast in that place, but not the case with these trucks. I think if anything, it's the draft and the momentum that's more important for these drivers, and that's why they're all sort of following the leader. I think wherever Ryan Doucette goes from the point, everybody else is generally going to sneak around and follow in, and even though we've got some drivers trying to work that high line, the majority of the field is down right along the white line on the bottom of the racetrack.
It seems like if you want to pass, the bottom is where you want to be. If you go to the outside, you just don't carry the speed coming up through the corners quite as much. Sure, you get the launch off, but maybe not in the middle of the corner quite where you would want to have that speed. 9 laps are complete here at Kansas. Ryan Doucette has led them all. First battle on the racetrack between Brandon Hoff, the last winner 2 weeks ago at Dover, the Waffle Machine, Wyatt Tinsley.
Tinsley with that lack of momentum there on the inside, though, that's the problem. It's so hard to get a good run from the inside if you are alongside someone else. It makes it almost impossible. And watching Tinsley just continue to slide backward and backward. Here comes Agno Phillip to his outside. Christopher Hill has the opportunity to make a run if he can get past Daniel Everhart. But again, you really, I think at some point have to start looking for that outside lane if you're door-to-door with somebody. I actually think that's going to be the way to gain position.
Well, here we go. James Wenzel leading the charge on the outside line there in 1 and 2. Maybe the start of some. Actually, that's Max Brady in the 18. Had the wrong truck selected, and now Tinsley goes to the outside. He'll bring that 17 to Christopher Hill right alongside. So maybe it's about that time where, all right, I think that's all the grip we're going to get out of the bottom. Time to move up, almost like we're at a dirt track.
And now you see, yeah, there goes Tinsley, who immediately jumped to the outside of Christopher Hill, pretty much on cue. And now the question will be, when do these people in the middle of the pack make the move up top? How quickly do they go up there? And how quickly do the drivers, and, you know, say like a 4th, 5th, the Kevin King, a James Wenzel, we're still pretty consistently on the bottom, begin to slide up, because you're starting to see the migration throughout the field. 5 laps ago, it was about 2 to 1, the ratio of drivers on the bottom to the top. Now that ratio is almost reversed, and we've got almost double the amount of drivers running the high line in the corners as we did some 5 laps ago.
About that time where tires start to lose their grip on the bottom, so you're going to have to slide up. There's no real way to go around it otherwise. And we're about a quarter of the way through now. A fuel run under green flag. They can make it 40 to 45 laps on a tank of fuel. We're right on the doorstep, just past the doorstep of the quarter mark on this green flag run. Everybody's still at the front, though. Single file from about the top 9.
So here's my question. Is anybody brave enough, now that we're clear of, you know, maybe 15, 16 laps or so, just give yourself a little buffer for green, white, and checker, but is anybody crazy enough to try and short pit now under the assumption that this race may go green the rest of the way? Because if it does, and you pit right about now, you make 45 laps, do the math, 45, 90, and give yourself a little bit of a breather here, you could make it to the end if you wanted to. And someone, if it goes green, you would benefit. The question is whether or not you think it will go green.
Well, that's exactly it. And if we don't go green, obviously that strategy then is a wash. They do have 3 sets of tires, I believe 3 sets of tires in the pits. They're on their 4th set right now. But, I mean, it's possible that they could try something like that. I don't know. I don't think that would work out too well. Yeah, you'll have the fresher tires in the middle of the run, but when everybody else is on those fresher tires at the very end of the race, after pitting later, I think they're going to be in the catbird seat, but of course we have to make it to the end caution-free to find out first. Battle inside the top 5, James Wenzel with Brendan John Kohler and Kevin King,
which has been a solid battle throughout this race. And don't forget Brandon Half there in the grip machine, just off the edge of the picture on the right-hand side. Good look at Wenzel down on the bottom. Good look at King up on the top side. Those two with some of the higher I ratings in this field. And then Hal, who started in 10th and has worked his way up 4 spots since the green flag and has done a nice job of reading this race and figuring out when to move to the high line. But now you see everybody pretty much up on that outside lane, making sure that they don't give up momentum to the drivers behind them, making it almost impossible to make any sort of pass. If you're going to pass somebody now here at Kansas, you're going to have to drop to the bottom, enter the corner hard, slide up in front of somebody, and hope that they don't pull the crossover on you on the next straightaway.
The draft has certainly taken effect as well. Look out, stack up there on the back straightaway. Right around Caden Rush and Barrett Bonner. They're able to get it sorted out without any incident. But just notice up at the front of the field how your race leader in Ryan Doucette, well, he still hasn't really joined the party on that outside line, at least not quite yet. We'll see what happens going into one. And sure enough, he goes right back to the bottom, and everybody in the rearview mirror goes up to the outside wall.
He's in a weird place because he's the only one for whom the draft doesn't really make that much of a difference since he's out front already. That's the reason, I think, why he's running this bottom lane. Yes, it saves tires a little bit, but the bigger thing that you can do by running the lane opposite everybody else is that you don't offer that wake for these drivers to suck up to your rear bumper on. You don't allow folks like Christopher Cornell or Brendan Kohler or Kevin King to gain on you. And last time by, they were all pretty much dead even on lap times. It was 32-2s across everyone in the top 5. So there's actually valid reason, I think, for Doucette to run that inside lane and stay away from everybody else that's running the highline.
Almost some contact there in the back. Caden Rush, I think, got some fenders beat in there coming off turn 2, and well, he did. He slid up there into Justin Knobloch, I believe, but nonetheless, they keep it going. They keep it green. They were stacking up all the way through. Look at this, 3 wide, trying to go 4 wide back here in the back of the pack. Liam Sheen.
How about it? Lots of fun there. Liam Sheen, Mitchell Hunt, Nate Stewart, who really has fallen off hard. Started in 8th, already back to 29th. So struggles early on in this race for the Kentucky native.
Man, they're still stacking up like crazy. Watch that 22 in the middle. That's Landon Mills just trying to hold on. Washes up off the corner right in front of Christian Peterson, and he is saying right now, get me out of here. He needs points. Try and lock himself in after tonight's race. In the top 10, he's sitting, I believe, in 10th in points. Right now, 27th on the racetrack.
Would it not be great? And now, it's also worth noting that the points with or without the drop are different, so the official point standings will not be the same as the ones that we're trying to calculate here on our own, because there is a drop factored into the final point tally at the end of round 1. So
I was looking at the points with the drop, just to be fair. Justin Malillo has an update for us on pit road, about halfway through this field run. Justin?
Thank you, Jacob. Taking a look at the lap times on a lot of these guys, and they've fallen off nearly 2 seconds already from the start of this race. So it's going to be interesting to see what strategies might play out here. I think the call is going to be 2 stops. I think these guys are going to split it into thirds. They're going to come in around that 33 to 40 range, and then again at that like 70 range or something like that. But you never know. There could be somebody crazy enough to try and stretch this into one. Anybody that's in the back might be trying to save some fuel, trying to stretch that fuel gauge a little bit longer than the rest of the field. I'll be interested to see if it works or plays out. But we've definitely seen it a couple times already this season.
No doubt about it. Where is Joseph 2 and Matthew Thunhorst when we need them? They pulled it back at Las Vegas when we had that dramatic photo finish when Joseph ran it out of fuel, coming to the line, and Thunhorst was able to squeak by and capture the flag. Neither of them in this split, of course, but nonetheless, good memories to think back on the last time we really had some really close fuel strategy when we were at 1.5 miles.
A lot of fun. And 2 more mile and a halves to round up round 1. We're here tonight and then Charlotte in 2 weeks' time. So we get back to that sort of fuel strategy. We get back to the way that things were at the beginning of the year. And we get back to those interesting points that make for a different type of race. We get to the short tracks and it ends up being about the beating and the banging and the cautions and how those play into things. Here, you're much more likely to go green, especially in this qualifying series second split, much more likely to have to be thinking from about the box on how you want to approach this race.
And then in that second round, things just go to hell. I mean, Mid-Ohio, Pocono, Michigan, IRP. First 4 weeks, trouble. Turn 1, Michael Finlayson almost turned around. Daniel Eberhardt, they're all able to save it. They were beating and banging coming off turn 2. They tried it again going into 1. And Finlayson comes away with the fuzzy end of the lollipop. He loses 1 spot. Now here comes Caden Rush to take another.
Oh, that was so close as you get a good look at Caden Rush here. This is all behind Eberhardt, who got a bump from Finlayson coming into turn 1 last time by. So all things considered, I think Michael Finlayson will take not completely falling through the field, because that could have gone very differently, very easily, and he could have been in the outside fence at the entry to 1 if that had played out just a hair differently than it did.
Since we were talking about Charlotte in 2 weeks' time, FTF has some bold ideas. FTF.GG has some bold ideas for 2 weeks from tonight. For some reason, no, I'm kidding. Our producer, Zach Johnson, he has devised a plan where we will cover 4 splits at once. Split number 2 like normal, split 3, split 4, and split 5. Obviously, the next race, 2 weeks from now, is the last shot anybody's going to have of making the top 70 and moving on up the ladder to the second round. That's why we want to cover more splits. But we need your help to do so, because like everything in life, there's a price tag attached to it. And man, it's kind of steep. Any help we get from you all certainly would help allow us to bring more racing to you 2 weeks from tonight. Otherwise, I mean, we'll still be here as normal with this split, but be a lot more fun covering 4 at once. What's that Kevin Harlan line? I'm calling both games. We're calling 4 races in 2 weeks. That'd be something wild. We just need your help to do so. If you want to advertise with FTF.GG, there are many ways to do so. Be sure to contact ftfracingleague@gmail.com for more information on the wide variety of partnership possibilities. They have a plan for every budget, and we can custom tailor solutions to suit your business's best needs. FTF.GG is going to be busy in the next couple of weeks. We'll be working the Rockingham 508 that Blake McCandless is going to be hosting next week. The Bar Visual FTF Cup Series, I guess, is Sunday, but I don't think we're covering it. But that's Sunday at 8 o'clock on the 15th. And then the Rockingham 508s, the heats here on Tuesday the 17th. And then the main event on eRacer, kind of FTF.GG on eRacer, something like that, next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And then we are back in 2 weeks at Charlotte. How about this battle right up here inside the top 5? Brandon Hoff side by side with Wenzel.
Hoff working that outside line that I think will pay dividends the longer we go into this run. But now the question is going to be who decides to come in early. We've got enough drivers. We have just been clicking off laps. Who makes the push late in the run? Who decides to come down to pit road to start? And then who sets off the cycle of pit stops?
Getting awfully close to that inside 10 laps or so till we get to the window for green flag pit stops, and this battling is not done yet here at the front with Hoff, James Wenzel, Agnell Phillip has joined the party, as well as Christopher Hill.
Lots of really good fighting, and look at
Oh!
Wow! Oh, that should have been something there, Jacob Hitz.
That was close. That's the closest thing we've seen to a wreck so far.
I mean, that was almost the same thing we saw with Steven Wilson in the Coach Series race on Tuesday night, where he tried to come down and there was somebody already there, and make contact, then everybody starts spinning and wrecking on the back straightaway. Like, just about was deja vu.
And he made the pass. He made it work. Wenzel's now behind him. Phillip gained a spot out of that. That's the 15 of Dalton Collins on pit road to get us going now with green flag pit stops. Here comes the 12, Brandon Hoff. He's coming to pit road. Heard another, Shane Williamson. He's coming to pit road. Tommy Gossett. Ready or not, here we come. These guys have kicked down the door for green flag pit stops. Now all eyes turn to your race leader. See when Ryan Doucette pits, whether they're going to go the undercut or the over here.
Justin Melillo, do you have any information for us with regards to all the pit stops that are beginning now?
Well, like I had predicted earlier, these guys are going to be coming in, splitting this race into 3 separate segments. First stint is done. Now these guys are going to have another about 30 to 35 lap stint. We see Wenzel in the pits. We see Fenleyson in the pits. Horn, they're coming in the pits now. A lot more, I'd say about a third of the field has come down pit road now in these last 3 laps, with about maybe Jarek Torres is coming in. Ryan Doucette still out there leading though. The strategy though, 4 tires, fuel, get to the next one in about 30 laps.
Here comes Phillip. Here comes, let's see, that's a 25, Jared Torres. As Justin mentioned, he comes onto pit road. Well into green flag pit stop. Still no sign yet from the race leader. And a good sign on pit road. No black flags as of yet. Here comes the race leader down the back straightaway to turn 3. He says he's coming in this time.
So Ryan Doucette. Yep, right on cue. Your crystal ball is working very nicely, and Kevin King is going to follow him, while Christopher Cornell will stay out. So move Cornell and Kohler and Christopher Hill and Eberhardt and company to the lead. Looks like we're going to be somewhere in the ballpark of the top, call it 15 or so, that have yet to pit, working lap 39 of 100.
14 drivers in total, James. Good math. Cornell, Kohler, Hill, Eberhardt, Rush, Brady, Hoffman, Baumgartner, Hunt, Evans, Shong, Peterson, Stewart, and Jordan Worth are the 14 drivers that have not made a stop quite yet. I would expect that number to decrease. Here comes, the top 3. Cornell, Kohler, and Hill all coming to pit road. Look out. Christopher Hill almost turns Cornell around, getting onto pit road. Max Brady stays out, as well as 9, and make that 8 others do. So we're about halfway of those that remained pitting that time.
I want to throw a question here to Justin Melillo, since he's been working the calculator and the strategy and all that sort of stuff for us on pit road. Do you feel like there's a particular lap within the sequence and/or range of laps that might make things advantageous to these drivers coming down pit road? Do you have a feeling as to whether or not it might be better to come down later or earlier in the cycle?
It depends on how far they're going to push it and how far that they're going to go in, because these tires have a very quick fall off. They're going to lose about a second in the first 5 to 10 laps. So, I mean, the guys that pit in first, they're going to get a little bit of an advantage, but they're going to lose that advantage before anybody else. And the guys that wait to pit, they might lose too much time staying out on the track. So probably the guys that are pitting around, the 3rd or 4th cycle in, they're going to be the guys that are in the best position. But we'll see how it all plays out here. Still 7 trucks on the track though. We'll see if these guys are going to try and stretch it to 1.
And they are crawling around this racetrack, Justin. Christian Peterson was like the cork in a bottle coming off turn 4. He had 6, 7 trucks trying to get by him at once, and he was just stuck, nowhere to go, right in the middle of the racetrack. He's stuck up on the high side now. Not going to help if he's going to come to pit road. He comes over the radio, but he still can't get down there. Here comes yet another truck. Now he's going to crank it hard left, get on the brakes, and look out, he's sideways. He's going to spin it into the grass, hits the cone. Trouble for Peterson. Remember, 10th in points coming into tonight. And Peterson does a 360 and now gets it rolling on pit road. No black flag yet for hitting the cone. But a rough night goes much worse for the driver of the 10.
That is not great for Christian Peterson, obviously, but good news, he's got the buffers, so you don't necessarily have to be too worried here, and it was a relatively quick 360 that he did, so yes, he'll lose some time as you see a replay of what happened there. A solid 10 out of 10 contact with the pit road cone, but all things considered, that could have been a lot worse.
Gotta wonder how much no tires or old tires may have had an impact. Actually, Peterson did get a black flag because he's still on pit road. He is stuck in the box serving a black flag for hitting the commitment cone.
Not great.
He is still there. He's been there for 50 seconds now. That includes his 4-tire change and fill up with fuel. 56 seconds total in the box. Now he's allowed to go. So Christian Peterson loses, well, 42 seconds on pit road. As here's Max Brady crawling around the racetrack. On the inside, he stays out yet another lap, maybe hoping for a caution to get himself on cycle with everybody else. He's your race leader. Here comes the 21. Mitchell Hunt, he's coming to pit road. Worth, Stewart, Evans, and Brady still on the lead lap, still out there on those ancient tires.
So Jordan Worth and company all playing the long game strategy and almost hoping for a yellow flag. If we got one now, that would be great news for Brady, PJ Evans, Nate Stewart, and Jordan Worth. Would be huge for their opportunities to try and charge back through this field. Question is whether or not we'll get one here in the next few laps or so.
Well, and we've seen Jordan Worth do this pretty much every single week, as here comes PJ Evans. He's on the pit road in that 14 machine, so leave 3 guys left, Worth, Stewart, and Brady. There's Stewart up against toward the outside wall. That's Worth, and he's coming in this time. So Jordan Worth going to give it up. And there's Nate Stewart getting split down the middle, 3 wide. Let's see what he will do. The race leader stays out. Worth is the only one that's going to bite this time by.
So Worth comes in from the 3rd position. That leaves Max Brady and Nate Stewart still out on the racetrack and just waiting for... At this point, I think if you're Brady or Stewart, you might as well just go to 50 and split this in 2 because you almost lose any advantage of this, what would effectively be a one-stop strategy if you don't make it all the way.
And I'm not saying it's going to work, but I'm saying it's going to work. Ryan Doucette is 17.5 seconds behind Max Brady right now. So if they pit, get tires, and then just run it all the way to the end without a caution, Max Brady and Nate Stewart might be in the catbird seat if they can make it 2 more laps to get to halfway. But, I mean, he is crawling around the racetrack. There goes the 23 of Michael Bumgarner, Neum, zooming by on the outside. Brady's only going like 167, now 170 going into 3. Now he's going to come in and pit. So he's going to be 1 lap shy of halfway.
Could do it again. I would expect he may clutch a little bit harder in that second run, but he could be there. I don't know if it necessarily is a race winning strategy, but it's certainly one that if you don't feel like you have the pace, you're better served to lay out on fuel and save a little bit and try and minimize the amount of time that you spend on pit road. It's a general rule of thumb for all racing, not just what we're seeing here in the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing.
So Stewart leads. He still needs to pit. This reminds me of another guy that was named Stewart that stayed out for an eternity here at Kansas and won back in 2006. Here comes Stewart. He's coming in this time. So Nate Stewart pits as he's coming to halfway. He will lead halfway here on pit road. And as we cross the halfway point of tonight's race, it's time to bring in the iRacing Midway Race Break. Brought to you by iRacing. iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in Australian supercars, IndyCar, IMSA, NASCAR, the World of Outlaws, and more. Ryan Doucette is back out in front. He has a 1.6, make it 1.7 second lead over Kevin King. Then it's Agnell Phillip, Christopher Cordell, James Wenzel, Christopher Hill, Dalton Collins, Wyatt Tinsley, Brendan John Kohler, and Brandon Hoff, your top 10.
11th at the line was Brendan Colors. Everything's just getting shuffled up here as we have drivers coming off the pit road and resetting the order. So let's go with Jared Torres, actually Caden Rush in 11th, Torres in 12th, Michael Finlayson in 13th, Justin Knobloch currently in the 14th spot, 15th belongs to Tommy Gossett, Barrett Bonner runs in 16th, 17th is Daniel Everhart, Cody Turkey rides in 18th, 19th, Dillian Sheen, and Connor Horn completes the top 20.
21st is Clayton Hoffman, 22nd Eddie Carter, 23rd Landon Mills, 24th is Chris Wilhite, 25th Shane Williamson, 26th Michael Bumgarner, 27th Connor Shong, 28th Octavio Rondoletto, 29th is Mitchell Hunt, 30th PJ Evans, Max Brady's in 31st, Jordan Worth in 32nd, Nate Stewart in 33rd, and the lone man 1 lap down is Christian Peterson, 2 laps down. That's your field of 34. After 51, make it 52 laps here from the Kansas Speedway. That concludes tonight's iRacing Midway Race Break. With over 200,000 drivers on the service and over 90 laser scan tracks and cars to choose from, iRacing is your portal to the racing world. Get on track today at iRacing.com. Ryan Doucette leads here at Kansas. 47 laps to go. We'll step aside. We're back after this on FTF.GG. Back from the Kansas Speedway for the eNASCAR qualifying iRacing series, round 7 of 8 in the first round. Okay, race 7 of 8 in round 1 of the, you get the deal. Nonetheless, Ryan Doucette back out in front after green flag pit stops are done cycling. 42 laps to go. We've got ourselves a good battle throughout this top 10. How about the battle for 6? Brendan John Kohler, Wyatt Tinsley, and Caden Rush.
Oh, big move there. Caden Rush going to the inside to try and make the big, meaty moves, as a certain other person in this community would say, wink, wink. But good run for Wyatt Tinsley then outside. You carry so much momentum, and especially with the trucks that we use here for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, it's so easy to just roll topside corner exit and keep someone at bay, even if they've got a great drive out the corner. And then, of course, as soon as I say that, there goes Caden Rush up to the outside and move the waffles a little bit back further.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Caleb Hoffman.
It is. It is.
Yeah, how are we doing? I mean, we have a really interesting race in our hands so far. You know, we've had a mix of, pit strategy, fuel strategy. You see all these guys kind of running everywhere. It's been a really fun race so far, and 40 laps to go. We'll see how this continues to play out.
So how long was the line at the hot dog stand? Clearly long enough, but
yeah, it's no Martinsville hot dog, but it does the trick here in Kansas, and we
Would we
like I
be
said,
doing ribs if we're in Kansas? By the way, it's just
that would make more sense. Yeah,
right. Yeah.
maybe that's what it was. He ate them, then had to go take a shower.
I mean, I think he'd be going to the bathroom after he ate them, but I don't think he'd be going to the bathroom to take a shower after eating ribs. But that's just me.
Well,
get the face washed off. You know how it works.
39 to go, and we're watching these couple of guys that stayed out the longest. Nate Stewart, who has now been lapped, but he's still clutching around the racetrack, and in fact, he's going to repass Ryan Doucette here, right in his tire tracks. Your race leader in the 13, the man who was second some 10 laps ago, maybe 15 laps ago, in the 31, starting to lose some time now. Trying to save as much as he can. The draft will certainly help him. The other one is Max Brady, and he is putting around the racetrack right now in P30, but on the lead lap. And here we go. Pit stops. Terlindi. Justin?
It's a little bit early, I'd say, but lap 62 here. He's in, getting his 4 French tires. Should be his last pit stop of the night. He's down and away and ready to come back out and join the field.
Now, I could understand if this were to work if somebody inside the top 5 were to pit now and then go the distance. With where Terlindi was running, I'm not sure that's really going to work out all that well because he's now 1 lap down. He's going to be more than a lap and a half down to the race leader at this point by the time he gets up to speed. I don't quite see this one working out for the driver of the 28, but you never know. If a caution were to come out, he would get the free pass.
No, he wouldn't.
No, he wouldn't?
Nate Stewart.
Oh, because Nate Stewart. Drat, you're right. Thank you. Well, then I don't know what he's doing. Go to the battle for 6. Christopher Cornell, Caden Rush, side by side down the backstretch.
These two have been the fun fight pretty much the whole of the second green flag run. But again, as good as the battling is here right now, the story is unquestionably what the one-stop strategy of Brady Worth Stewart will do compared to the 2 stops of just about everybody else in this field. That's what we're watching for. If we don't get a yellow flag to throw things completely out of whack, if we do, it just about kills any chance that a Brady Worth or Stewart have winning this race. Would give all the power back to the 2 stoppers. But again, there's a lot on the line here, and there's a lot still left to be raced out.
Close racing there from Caden Rush, but against the spot away. Octavio Rondoletto is on pit road. And Nate Stewart is literally just riding in the tire tracks. There's another on pit road. That is Knobloch? Hoff, Brandon Hoff. Ooh. Ooh. Now that's some strategy that might work.
Yeah, right now that strategy is just the name of the game. And, as Pike was saying right there, just you got to keep an eye on Brady and Worth right here. I mean, if races have gone how they have gone, so far this season, because, we haven't seen many green flag caution or green flag.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't seen many cautions so far. Lots of green flag runs. So, Brady and Worth, they've probably studied that and have had this one-stop strategy in the bag. And, at places like Vegas, we've seen this type of strategy work out before. So.
Well, here we go. The floodgates have opened. Justin Malillo, get ready. Pretty much the whole top 5 is coming your way, starting with the leader.
And he slides through the line. Hopefully he's down to speed at the time. He's got a long way to come down pit road to get to his pit stop, but this is going to be the money stop. This is going to be the final stop of the day if it stays green for these guys. Going to be coming down. Everybody's coming down for 4 tires. You got Doucette, you got Kevin King, Brendan Kohler, Chris Cornell. All in. Doucette's in his box. King's in his box. They're taking the 4 tires. They're filling it up with fuel. And let's see if it's going to pay out for them, if they're going to be able to catch the guys. And we have a caution.
Caution. Are you kidding me? Back straightaway, Landon Mills is around as the 17 of Christopher Hill spins on pit road. Landon Mills got turned around off the front bumper of Cody Terlindi.
Oh, okay. All right. So Terlindi is the one that gets into Landon Mills. But remember, Terlindi was the first one to come in for tires. And so that is the difference between old and new tires, and the closing rate personified in almost crystalline perfection right there, because it has completely changed the complexity of this race.
Max Brady, Nate Stewart, I'm sorry. Your time is up. Caution flag number 1 here at Kansas. And there you see the replay. Yes, Mills couldn't get out of the way in time. Caden Rush is your race leader. 24th on back or a lap down, including Wenzel, Torres. Wenzel should get the free pass. Fenlison, Horn, Terlindi, Hoff, Gossett, Sheen, PJ Evans, Octavio Rondoletto, and Christian Peterson. All of them have already made their stops. Pit stops again, now under caution. Justin.
Now, these guys have all gotten a very lucky break here. They're going to be able to come down, get their fresh tires. They're going to have the freshest tires out of anybody. Anybody who stopped instead and lead lap, they're going to have to deal with a lap or two of older tires. They're going to be at a disadvantage for the rest of this race. 4 tires fuel looks like who came out first? Eberhardt?
Well, Caden Rush just killed the cone. Dalton Collins will win that race off of pit road. Actually, no, Wyatt Tinsley. So it's Tinsley, then Collins, Rush, and Eberhardt, with Knobloch rounding out your top 5 off pit road. But the 4 guys that pitted that magically were able to stay out in front, Doucette, King, Kohler, and Cornell, did not get lapped. Actually, Dalton Collins won the race off pit road, the 15 maybe. Uh-oh. Wyatt Tinsley sped. Wyatt Tinsley's dropping to the back of the field.
I'm not so sure if he sped or if he came down a closed pit lane. When that caution came out, Tinsley and Caden Rush were both in the middle of coming down. And I was going to comment on that. Caden Rush made a really heads-up move. As soon as that yellow came out, immediately dipped off the pit lane, was right before the commitment line, and probably saved himself a handful of trouble in this restart, because you see that 6 truck is falling to the back now.
I don't think it was for pit road. I mean, it could have been, but he pitted the second time anyway with everybody else. He took tires when he pitted the first time. Okay, I see. He never pitted this time with everybody else. Okay, cool. All right, well, there you have it.
Now, I am very much now looking forward to see how this pans out, because it was pretty clear-cut and straightforward for the most part before that yellow flag, as we see one driver come down pit road. I believe that might be Landon Mills trying to get his truck fixed up again. But now we've got a million different strategies, it seems like, in play. We've got the drivers who came in and they're going to get the wave around to try and get back towards the front. We have the drivers who stayed out and got the pit under yellow. We've got a whole bunch of different groups, although interestingly enough, the only driver who's on relatively old tires within this entire field is the one driver who came down early and now got a little bit burned, not only with his strategy, but because he got into Landon Mills. But Cody Terlindi is the oldest tires in this field.
And everybody that pitted, for the most part, that isn't in your top 4, well, they are the wave-around cars, and there they go, waving around the pace car right now. So they get back on the lead lap. They're going to be back at the tail end of this field on almost heat-cycled tires here for this restart, which we'll have with 27 laps to go here at Kansas.
Yeah, and I mean, on this restart, this run's going to be very interesting, because as we've seen, the fall off on these tires is really quick. So just seeing just a gradual difference in when these guys came in is going to make such a big difference on the long run. It's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, I think.
Half a lap to green. Oh boy, if you thought this race was exciting before, that caution flag will just you wait now. Oh my. So Tinsley did not beat the light to pit road. So that's why he dropped to the back, because he did indeed pit after the caution came out and pits were closed. Green flag, 27 to go. Already jumping out of line is Cornell. They're going to be 3 wide for second going to turn number 1. Caden Rush in there trying to break it up.
Brendan Kohler, Dalton Collins, Kevin King, all in the mix there as Caden Rush will get to the inside, and not really much here that I think you can do as King will get that momentum on the high line, and they continue to move. Look at Doucette all the way down to the apron to keep Brendan Kohler at bay. What a move from Dalton Collins, though, to get underneath Kohler.
Elevator down, top to bottom. Now he slides up the racetrack. He can't hold it down on the white line. That allows Kohler to take that second spot back. 4 wide in the back of the field with Wyatt Tinsley trying to slice and dice his way through the field. Kohler still in second. Here comes Collins back through 1.
And right now, we just have such a fun balance of drafting and managing tires right now. As you see, fighting for the lead right now, Doucette and Kohler. All about the draft there. Wow.
Blocking. Yeah. Here comes Collins. Right back, looking on the inside. Kohler slams the door shut. Now he goes to the outside. He's got the run. Can he make the top side work into 1?
Nothing yet as Kohler's got a little bit of momentum, but Collins has got more of it to the outside of Ryan Doucette. He goes at a really interesting point. Justin Malillo, I want to come to you this on quickly. How important is it for the drivers who have the fresher tires by a lap or 2 to go and try and get track position at this point?
Dalton Collins has the fresher tires out of these top 3. If he's going to make a move, it's got to be now, or else these tires are going to equalize, and it's not going to pay off. It's not going to make any difference that he's got the fresher tires. He's making the move into second right now, as it looks like Doucette's on the less preferred line on the inside.
24 laps to go. And Ryan Doucette, for the first time all day without green flag pit stops, has been shuffled out from the lead. Brendan John Kohler now working the lines like we're at Daytona or Talladega. Here comes Collins round the outside. He wants P2. He's going to get it off 4.
And you see him start to single file out now. You know, now it's kind of more about, you know, biding your time, you think. And as soon as I say that, you see Collins ducking down to the inside. He wants the lead now with that momentum he has. Trying to slide up in front. Not quite clear. He's going to get him muffed too now.
And he couldn't cross him over because Doucette was peeking on the inside, so Kohler just has to sit in line, move Dalton Collins to the front. Dalton Collins on the day, he started 28th. Here he is leading at the line with 22 laps to go here at Kansas.
So worth noting that Collins and Caden Rush have 9-lap-old tires. Kohler, Doucette, and King have 10-lap-old tires. And the driver on 8-lap tires, highest in the field. How about Daniel Everhart, currently in 6th? So Everhart might need to be the one that we watch for to make a charge, if anything. Oh, there goes the 16.
That's Cornell. Back into the outside wall. Nate Stewart piles in. Big crash. Wyatt Tinsley around. The big one in turn number 3 as they keep piling in. Mitchell Hunt involved as well. Caution flag is out, the second one of the day for contact, and a lot of heavy hitters involved in this one. Christopher Cornell was the first truck sideways, and that truck is junk. In turn number 3, he made contact with Justin Knobloch to kick that whole thing off.
Yeah, just go back and watching it myself. I think he was trying to get underneath Everhart and just was not clear and just spun himself right off the nose of Knobloch. You'll see it here. There's the move down to the bottom, and I don't know if there's anything Knobloch could have done in that situation because that all happened so quickly. And at that pace, especially at the end of the back straightaway, there's not much you could do to stop that. That's how it pans out.
Michael Bumgarner involved in that as well. He was the one that made contact with Hunt. Hunt just spun it, trying to avoid, and then bounced off of Bumgarner. Other angle, yeah, you're right. Just trying to peek it in there, couldn't quite do it. There's the contact between Hunt and Bumgarner into the wall. Big damage for them. There you see Nate Stewart's truck demolished. He clobbered Wyatt Tinsley. Tinsley not going back to back as we've got some pit stops. As Cornell has parked the truck, done for the night, we have some pitters, including Max Brady, Kevin King, Brandon Hoff, and more, Justin Malillo.
It looks like a majority of the field has decided to come down and either take their last set or second to last set if they were on the one-stop strategy. I'm interested to see that Ryan Doucette and Brandon Kohler stayed out. They have the oldest tires in the field right now. But
Knobloch Justin Knobloch took 2 tires to win that race off pit road. Do you think that's going to work, the 2 tires over everybody else on 4?
There's a lot of people out there on no tires. I don't know if he's going to be able to get through the field better than anybody else that's on 4 tires behind him. It's going to be very interesting to see these last 20 or so laps play out.
Everyone else, PJ Evans, Tommy Gossett, they also take 2. Everyone else that was on pit road takes 4. Very, very interesting here. Inside 20 to go this time by. Dalton Collins, your race leader, he pitted, by the way. So Brennan John Kohler is back out in front. Collins now 10th.
Yeah, biggest. If you're splitting this up, easiest way to look at this: top 8 on old tires, and then Knobloch on 2. Same with Tommy Gossett and PJ Evans, and then everybody else on 4. So.
What a wild, wild night here from Kansas. And we got to do this again in 2 weeks' time from Charlotte Motor Speedway, the virtual one at that. And our plan involves hopefully covering 4 splits at once. We definitely need your support with that. If your business or organization is interested in partnering with FTF.GG, we have plenty of space available for you. FTF.GG is a plan for every budget and can custom tailor solutions to suit your business's needs best. For more information on the wide variety of partnership possibilities, send an email to ftfracingleague@gmail.com. We've also got the FTF Cup Series, Bar Visuals FTF Cup Series coming up on Sunday at Chicagoland. And then the Rockingham 508, the heats here on FTF.GG, the real race Wednesday. That's on eRacer. 18 to go. We're going to restart with 17 laps to go. Lights out on the pace car. How about Landon Mills? 7th. What a comeback for him.
Yeah, especially after everything that he went through earlier, being the caution and spinning off the nose of Cody Terlindy's truck and rallying back to be within the top 10. That wreck over in 3 changed the fortunes of a lot of drivers. Obviously, the ones who got caught up in it, but there are a lot of folks who stayed out of it that benefited greatly. And worth noting, of the drivers that started in the top 10, 2 of them are still in the top 10 right now, and they are Brendan Kohler and the pole sitter from the beginning of the evening, Ryan Doucette.
Any picks to win the race with 17 to go at the line?
You're supposed to be impartial here, Jacob. Not our place to make picks, right?
So you just don't want to make a pick and be wrong? Okay, Caleb?
No comment.
Yeah, I mean, I've been looking here, and I think Ryan Doucette's probably my pick, starting on the outside here, which is, been the preferred lane tonight. So watch for him on this restart.
I'm going sleeper pick. Give me Kevin King. We'll see what happens. 17 laps to go. Green flag once again here at Kansas. Brendan John Kohler on the gas. Doucette slides right into line behind him. Kohler has about a car length, truck length and a half going into turn 1.
Also, names that we've not talked about starting to get runs to the outside as the field fans out. They go 3 wide a little bit further back. But have we said anything about Barrett Bonner or Eddie Kerner all night long as they wreck in the back out of turn 2? And the yellow flag does come out eventually. I figured at some point it must. There are a few more trucks that got caught up in incidents, and as much as I was about to talk about Barrett Bonner and Eddie Kerner, we've got another wreck to break down.
Yeah, Mitchell Hunt involved in this one. It all started with the 24 of Daniel Eberhardt and the 34 of Liam Sheen. It was contact between, I believe, Hoff and Eberhardt that kicked that whole thing off, and it's impressive that only 3 trucks got involved in it because that was right in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, contact between Hoff and Eberhardt, and then all of a sudden you've got all the people in the back who were trying to make charges towards the front. Nothing they could have done. So looking at this, Christopher Hill picked up damage. I think Octavio Rondoletto might have gotten a piece of this. Mitchell Hunt got clipped by Eberhardt. He was just trying to make it past the wreck and got spun in the end. Liam Sheen also involved in this incident as well.
Caution number 3 on the night, and we're going to restart inside 15 laps to go. Here's an onboard with Michael Bumgardner. Wolf. That was close.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to think now, we're on our third caution of the night. These last few restarts, you've really felt the tension pick up, the urgency. You got 16 laps to go, and it's, like you said, we're going to be under 15 laps to go when we get this restart. So, I mean, do you think we're going to see more cautions play out throughout the night? If you're a driver and, you're thinking about tires, you're thinking about fuel, what's the strategy here? Are you going to get another caution? You're going to go green to the end? I mean, what's the play?
I would bet on there being more cautions, but that's just me. The way this thing has been tonight, maybe aggressive blocks at the front. We've seen how important the draft has been. Maybe up at the front, somebody gets a little too aggressive, makes contact, and then round she goes.
Big pieces still to fall in this race. Also worth noting, I think, if anything, this incident was a win for a lot of the drivers that stayed out, because you're just going to lose a few extra laps to try and make a charge. So it's not what you wanted to see if you were Justin Knobloch, Dalton Collins, Kevin King, Caden Rush, some of the drivers that came down on that last yellow. And now at this point, I don't know, especially if you have a set of tires in the pits. I'm not sure how many people do. There, I think at least there are a few folks, but I don't know how much good you're going to get out of them, because even if you might be faster than everybody else, if you come down pit road, you're going to lose so much track position. I think most people's strategies are made.
1 to go. No. We do have to do another lap. Rats. Well, that means we got to restart with 12 laps to go. Nate Stewart has parked the truck. He's done for the night, but he is here and available. Nate, rough night at the office. What happened?
Well, we had a very, very good strategy going on, and then unfortunately, we had a caution come out and put into that plan. After that, everybody's trying to get spots on the restart, because we don't know when the next caution is going to come out. So, I mean, I can't blame people for going for spots, but I mean, just somebody cleared themselves, and I had absolutely nowhere to go. Unfortunately, we had an extremely fast truck tonight. I can't say enough about everybody that put this piece together, but I am heartbroken because my season's over now.
I was going to ask, on the outside looking in, going into this week, 77th with the drop, 10 points out. Do you think there's any possible path for a shot to make it in 2 weeks' time from Charlotte?
No, I highly doubt it. I'd probably have to gain a bunch of iRating and go win top split and have everybody in front of me have a bad night. But it is what it is. We'll just regroup and hopefully go get them next season.
Well, if there's any help to this, Mitchell Hunt right in front of you in points. He hasn't had much of a good night either here in this split, involved in a couple of these wrecks. He sits 26th, still on pit road, still on the lead lap, so he could gain a couple more spots, but he also could drop back. But Nate, thanks for your time, and best of luck in 2 weeks.
Can I thank my sponsors real quick?
Absolutely.
I would like to thank everybody at Lowline Racing and Elliott Sadler Esports for supporting this season with setups. Digital Chumps, Rexford Engineering, Speed Visions, Mighty Mac Visual Media, and my company Apex Action. I can't say enough about everybody that supported me this season. I'm extremely grateful for all of them, and I'm grateful for you guys broadcasting Second Split and all that. And, I hope to be on more FTFGG broadcasts next year.
Nate Stewart out of the race tonight. His shot to make the top 70 might be out as well. Have to see in 2 weeks' time. 12 to go on the restart. Brendan John Kohler and Ryan Doucette are on the front row for this restart. What could be the last one? Could be the fourth to last one. We'll find out. Green flag.
How does this pan out behind Keller, behind Doucette and Eddie Kerner and Barabano? Shane Williamson, Chris Wilhite, lots of drivers waiting for their time to jump to the front, but picking a good time to do it as we start to see these motors wind up on the back straightaway, fanning out 3-4 wide pretty much throughout the top 20 as everybody tries to complete the land rush to get positioned somewhere.
Ryan Doucette really backed off the restart, but here he is now. He's within a truck length of the race leader, peeking to the outside. He needs some drafting help from behind. He's got Barrett Bonner, Eddie Kerner, Chris Wilhite. They're all side by side and 3 wide, make it 4 wide going into turn number 1. How is this going to work? Dalton Collins storming at the top 4 wide. He's going to make it work, getting by Shane Williamson. They're still 4 wide off 2.
Really close call there off of turn number 2. Was for sure convinced that they were going to wreck it there. I was really keeping an eye on Ryan Doucette, who was making a charge as well, up for the lead. Oh man, still back in this 3 wide battle. Contact, it was the Landon Mills machine there. Still,
They are-
Max Brady looking to go 4 maybe.
They are packed in from 10th on back like we're at Talladega. 3 wide, 3 rows deep. Dalton Collins almost 4 wide. We got trouble. Max Brady gets turned around. Brandon Hoff back in front of the field. Big crash once again on the back straightaway with 10 laps to go. Brandon Hoff, Max Brady, Clayton Hoffman involved. Saw Brandon Hoff get a piece of that. Well, of course, because he was involved in it. There was another truck that I saw. That was Octavio Rondoletto. He's got big damage, smoking coming off turn 4. And the caution flag is out for the 5th time now. And it involved 4 wide. Max Brady and Brandon Hoff was the contact to kick that whole thing off.
Yeah, Brady, you'll see here, was looking to get to the inside, I believe, of Dalton Collins and just did not realize that Hoff was still there. So he sends Hoff down in the bottom, and then Hoff bounces off of Clayton Hoffman. And that eventually, I think that plus a little bit of contact with Tommy Gossett ultimately sends Hoff in front of the field, where there was just nothing that Jared Torres could have done. Rondoletto's damage hits right there in that spot, and he just pile drove into Hoff at the end of all that. So struggles for him as well. Massive shunt there, and nothing that Rondoletto could have done in all of this. And Brady spinning down to the inside. But yes, even more drivers caught up. And I think interestingly too, also worth noting that of the drivers who managed to get damage in that incident, I think Jordan Worth is the only one with a clean truck of the drivers who originally were out on that one stop. Now that you had the issues for Brady, and then obviously Nate Stewart's issues from a few laps ago.
And he's back on pit road right now. Last car on the lead lap, last truck on the lead lap rather, in 28th position. So a restart. Dangerously close to 5 to go. Top split is done. Tucker Minter is your race winner. Minter already locked in. He already has a win back at Richmond this season. It's his 3rd top, make it his 4th top 5 in the last 5 races in top split. So Minter with the win pretty much only helps himself, considering he's 2nd in points coming into tonight and already locked in one of the 3, along with DeMerchant and Parker White.
So how intriguing this gets, and I'm not even going to pretend to start looking at the permutations, the combinations, the drivers in this split in relation to the drivers in the other splits, and where things will pan out amongst everyone. But what we do know is that Justin Knobloch and Dalton Collins are the first 2 drivers on the newer set of tires, the top 6 on that old set, and then Knobloch and Collins lead the group that came down pit road under that yellow a few yellows ago at this point now. But they are only 7th and 8th, so still work to be done. This continues to play out in the favor of the drivers that stayed out. The question is whether or not we get another set of yellows, or whether or not it goes green. I actually think at this point, if you came down pit road, you want this green the rest of the way. The likelihood of that happening, though, I'm not willing to bet much.
We will indeed have a restart with 5 laps to go. We do have 3 overtimes if we need to use them. Can Ryan Doucette get by Brendan John Kohler? He was close, but he had a lot of pressure from that 27 of Barrett Bonner on that last restart before the caution came out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see Ryan Doucette on this restart. I was noticing he started on the outside and immediately dropped down and stayed tucked in behind Kohler for about a lap, and then as soon as they crossed the start finish, he instantly, ducked out of line trying to make a move for the lead there. And that was, right when that pack was starting to go 3 and 4 wide behind him. And now you look at Ryan Doucette, and he's going to be starting tucked in behind Brendan Kohler. And you got Barrett Bonner on the outside. Do you think Bonner's going to try to, stick his nose down to the inside and try what Doucette did? Or, do you think he stays committed to the outside? It's just really interesting. You got 6 laps to go, 5 on this restart. There's just so many plays that you could make, to try to put yourself in victory lane.
James, I know before we went live, you talked about wearing the jersey on stream. It seemed to work for you. Well, thoughts to Blake McCandless, because Hurricanes lost 5-2, forcing a Game 7. I don't want to talk about basketball right now because the Sixers,
Sixers did not have fun. Meanwhile, former Wake Forest player Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns are down 3 to the Mavs.
The Phillies aren't losing to the Dodgers yet, but I have a feeling it's coming. Yep, they just started a couple minutes ago. 10 o'clock starts on the West Coast featuring East Coast team should be illegal. Green flag with 5 laps to go.
Brendan Kohler clear. Bonner up to second. He's done a nice job of reading these restarts. So Doucette now to the inside. He'll drag Eddie Kerner with him. Will Height with no momentum up top. And Dalton Collins found a way to the bottom. That's big. Collins was able to clear Will Height and Agnell Phillip. And now he's going to look to the inside of Kerner potentially to get another spot. Watch Dalton Collins. He could really throw a wrench into this finish.
That's going to be dangerous with Collins and Doucette bumper to bumper, fighting for the win, coming to 4 laps to go. This pack has thinned out a little bit, but here they come down the front. It's all Brendan John Kohler side by side for second between Doucette and Barrett Bonner.
Yeah, Doucette made an incredible move going into turn 3 there, ducking down to the inside, just kind of using that momentum in a slingshot effect almost. And now you see Brendan Kohler right now trying to break that draft down the backstretch. Doucette has Dalton Collins locked to the back bumper right now. And he actually loses the nose, gets loose off the corner there. You see Barrett Bonner also as well.
Car hard in the wall. Cody Terlindi. Caution is out. We're going to overtime. He got turn 3 wide coming off turn number 4 off the bumper of Liam Sheen. And we are going to overtime, I think, for the first time this season in the second split.
Somehow, some way. But yeah, no, Terlindi with the big hit there and just nothing. I think that I don't think Liam Sheen could have done much because she was pinned up against the fence. Maybe they came into each other just a little bit, but Terlindi ends up with the big hit down the front straightaway. And now, yes, overtime here. And Dalton Collins is going to restart in the 3rd spot and really is the one, I think, that has the ability to shake this up because he's the one driver on the fresher tires, even within the top 5. Kevin King is next in that list. Your pick there, Mr. Hitz, and Kevin King is only in 8th, as are a lot of the drivers that came down pit road. So really, Collins, the way he fixed up that restart, as you see some of the folks a little bit further down the running order come in for service and repairs. But the way he got that restart and got the run on the inside, was able to clear Bonner and Kerner and Will Height and Phillip and company, the way that played out for him, I think that saved Dalton Collins' chance to win this race. If he does not pull that off, it probably is someone who stayed out that is going to victory lane. But as it sits, I don't think we can totally rule out Collins. And I can definitely tell you that if someone's going to shake this up, it will be that black Chevy Silverado.
Brendan John Kohler is going to have to make that truck about 15 lanes wide down the back straightaway coming to the checkered flag because he'll still be getting up to speed.
Also noting that while we talk about going across, I don't know if anybody else was noticing it on that last green flag run, but Collins literally was using every single lane of the racetrack that he could, and I would expect to see the same on the restart.
Including the apron. And I mean, Brendan John Kohler, yeah, those older tires, but you got to keep in mind it takes them 3/4 of a lap pretty much to get up to full song, get those engines really going. So the first half of the first lap is just making sure that you can get a run. Maybe backing off a little bit from Kohler so that way on that last lap you can attack. But you're really going to have one shot at it unless you get a caution, in which you're going to have to do it all over again if the caution's before the white flag.
Yeah, I mean, just based off what we've seen on these restarts, this is, again, the first overtime that we've had in second split all year. So situationally, I mean, this is a really new experience for these guys. I mean, obviously they have experience with restarts and other various series, but I mean, right now, if you're Dalton Collins, you got to be thinking, what are ways that you can not only keep Ryan Doucette to the outside of you and even behind you, but what are ways that you can, square up a pass on the 7 truck of Kohler? I mean, Doucette's his prerogative here is going to be getting down to the inside and trying to formulate a run over this, 2 to go restart. It's just what can Dalton Collins do in his head to, try to keep that 13 truck to his outside and try to get around the 7.
So we going to have another lap under pacing here before we get the restart. Another lap for perhaps Collins and Doucette to think together and then just try and work, push themselves to the front, and then I'm sure once they get past Kohler, it's going to be every man for himself.
Might be every wheel for itself with the way this is going to pan out. I don't even know if it's going to be every man, every truck. It might be pieces of trucks that come across the start-finish line here, mind you.
1 lap to green on this first overtime attempt. We've got 2 more if we need them. It's been a wild night here from Kansas, and remember, we get to settle it all in 2 weeks' time from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of these names in the hunt next week to try and pull off the top 70 in points. You typically see a lot of folks in the top couple of splits that make their way in and move on to the round of 70. We want to thank Podium Esports, by the way, for the rain at 45 right here before this thing's said and done. Of course, Tucker Minter won the top split race, so they come down, join the party here, second split. It's been a long night, a lot of cautions, but nonetheless, we're here for the checkered flag. Green-white checker attempt 1 of 3. Some pit strategy blown away by the first few cautions. And since then, it's been Brendan John Kohler out in front. And we'll have Ryan Doucette to the outside. Then Dalton Collins, Barrett Bonner, Eddie Kerner, your top 5. Pace car is in. Kohler's on the gas. Green flag, green-white checker attempt number 1 is underway.
And you saw right there, Ryan Doucette, Pike, could not get down to the inside. Now it's all going to be about Dalton Collins, and can he and Eddie Kerner set something up around the 7 truck as they have a little bit of a run coming out of turn 2.
Bye-bye, Dalton Collins. It's simple as that. Barrett Bonner pushes him up the racetrack a little bit, but here comes Dalton Collins. He goes to the top. He's got help from Kerner. Kohler can't block. Here comes Bonner to the inside. Kerner drops downstairs, side by side for second. Coming to the white flag. Kerner washes up and can't make the corner.
This is entirely in Dalton Collins' hands. He's got about 10 lap fresher tires than everybody else in this race around him, and 1 lap to roll the momentum on the outside to try and take the race win. He and Kohler door to door in 1 and 2 of the final lap. Kohler did not get a good run in the center of the corner. He'll slide back. Can Brendan Kohler hang on to this Jacob hits?
Oh my gosh, well, Kerner got the apron. Here comes Collins all the way down to the white line. He can't get by Kohler. He washes up the racetrack. He almost gets turned by Bonner. They are 3 by 3 coming off the corner. A big crash behind. They're wrecking. Brendan John Kohler wins at Kansas. Oh my gosh, Adam Phillip flying through the air. A horrific crash at start finish, but Brendan John Kohler holds them all at bay and will win a wacky race at Kansas. Ryan Doucette second, Barrett Bonner finishes in third.
Oh my goodness. What a wreck coming across, and it was just chaos behind Brendan John Kohler there. And what a great race by him, just being able to play these cautions right, stay out front, and flex his muscles on the restart, keeping a hard charging Dalton Collins at bay.
My goodness. That's not quite what I expected there for that last lap from Dalton Collins. Well, it was up until turn number 3. I was really surprised. He hung right in behind the 7 of Brendan John Kohler all the way to turn number 3. I thought for sure he would have jumped to the outside a little bit sooner.
I figured with the way he was running, especially down the back half of the back straight, that there was going to be a tremendous shot up the racetrack. And I don't know whether or not Kohler did anything to sort of neutralize that, but I think that's part of the reason why Collins checked up. I almost think he got too close to Kohler to even make some sort of bump and run. And so he had to check out to make sure he'd make the corner. And when he did, that's why he went high in the middle of 3 and 4 and eventually started the chain that ended with him wrecking across the start-finish line along with about 10 or 15 other trucks here.
There's the replay of the death and destruction behind him. That's Agnell Phillip you see flying across your screen. A couple of more trucks upside down, break dancing. I think one of them's Eberhardt in the 3 truck. Here they come. There you see the contact. Focus in on the 3 of Eberhardt. And wham, up into the air. And yes, he does go over. Up into the fence. Does a couple flips. Actually, it's Tommy Gossett in the 3. Not Eberhardt. I guess I'm used to seeing Eberhardt in the 3, but woof. Here are your results. Here from Kansas, Brendan John Kohler comes away with the win. Ryan Doucette in second. Barrett Bonner in third. Caden Rush finishes in the 4th position. In 5th, it's Justin Knobloch. Agnell Phillip finishes 6th, even after flying across the infield. He finishes 6th. Shane Williamson in 7th. Kevin King 8th. Dalton Collins, so close. He comes across the line backwards in P9. Chris Wilhite finishes P10, James.
Eddie Kerner came home 11th. A lot of these drivers were part of that pile up across the line, so it didn't necessarily finish where they were running, even coming to the white flag. So Kerner 11th, Tommy Gossett brought it home in 12th. Landon Mills was 13th. Connor Horn finished in the 14th position. Max Brady rebounded from an earlier yellow, finished in 15th. So did Wyatt Tinsley. He comes home 16th. Christian Peterson, remember, he did a 360 on entry to pit road earlier in this race, comes home 17th. Jordan Warren brought it home in the 18th position. 19th went to Liam Sheen, and Christopher Hill rounded out the top 20.
And we'll take a look at everyone on back. You see PJ Evans coming home in 21st, James Wenzel in 22nd, Michael Baumgartner in 23rd. Cody Turlind had a rough night. He finishes 24th tonight. Michael Finlayson in 25th. You got Jared Torres in 26th. Clayton Hoffman, who was running up front earlier, just unfortunate night for him. 27th for him. Mitchell Hunt in 28th. Connor Shung in 29th. And then Brandon Hauff rounds out your top 30.
Final 4. 31st belongs to Octavio Rondoletto. Then it's Daniel Eberhardt in 32nd. Nate Stewart, we already talked with him, 30-30, thinks his chances are done. Christopher Cornell finishing in the 34th and final position here tonight from Kansas. And of course, some of those guys like Eberhardt, well, he's already up inside. He was P6 without the drop. So, really interesting to see how that's going to play out after tonight is said and done. Let's talk with our race winner. First win on the season for Brendan John Kohler. Finished 29th 2 weeks ago at Dover. Comes away with the win here tonight. Brendan, holy cow, what a block on that last lap.
Yeah, that was insane. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe all those restarts and just timing everything perfect. And I got to thank Liam Brotherton for helping me with that, just making those decisions and bouncing ideas off of. But that race was definitely that was definitely Ryan's race. He was the best car by a mile. But yeah, I can't believe it. I got so excited I forgot to do a burnout. But I can't believe it.
Certainly helping yourself move on. 34th with the drop coming into tonight. Since you missed Bristol, obviously, that helps. That takes up your drop. But for you, coming away with the win this close to the end of the season, does this help your momentum? Not only for 2 weeks from now at Charlotte to wrap up the season, but also if you are able to make the top 70, looking ahead to that second round.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my spirits have been down quite a bit. I mean, I had internet issues at Bristol and got wrecked last week at Dover, or last race at Dover. But yeah, it helps with a lot of momentum, and I can't thank everybody enough at ESC and Lowline and all the work they put in. I was gone for a week and thought I was going to run horrible tonight, and it was just they busted their butts, and they got a bad fast truck, and I can't thank them enough.
Brendan John Kohler, your winner tonight from Kansas. Best of luck at Charlotte.
Thank you. Just really quick, I got to thank Pace-O-Matic and Elliott Sadler Esports. I'm going to forget people, but I just thank everybody that worked on the setup because it was bad fast, even with the driver not being as good as the car. But thank you, guys.
Now let's talk with second place. Ryan Doucette standing by with James Pike.
Ryan Doucette, runner-up this evening. And Ryan, how do you approach tonight's run, and what do you take away from it, given, there are a lot of angles I think you could take when you summarize this. There's you had the best car on the two-stop strategy under green flag conditions, and then the cautions didn't necessarily fall in your favor, and you're not a winner, but you're on the podium. So is it some mixture of glass half full, glass half empty? Where's it sit for you?
Well, obviously I'm a little bit salty. I mean, we kind of dominated the first 70% of that race there. Got a little bit unlucky with a little bit lucky and unlucky with the way the caution fell. But I lost the lead basically just by my own mistake. I didn't realize the outside was going to be as overpowering as it was when Brendan got there. And he took the lead cleanly, and I respect that. Still think we had the best truck of the race, but he did what he had to do to win.
So he makes it happen. You come home, Pete, to the point situation beginning to sort of roll off in favor of a lot of these drivers. And as we look towards the final race at Charlotte, do you have a general game plan for your approach? Sort of sit in middle of the group with the drops factored in, at least unofficially.
I mean, I think this race should have locked me into the next round, thankfully. I pretty much needed to beat my drop week here, which I did by a long shot to get locked in. But, just can't thank the Logitech G Altus guys enough. They gave me a hell of a truck in qualifying and race. It drove itself for the first half of the race. And although we didn't take home the win, I'm still satisfied with second place. And also, if Dalton Collins is listening, I apologize for running over you in the final corner. That was just kind of a mess there at the end. And it's coming to the checkered. He was a little bit off pace when he slid up into my groove, and I wasn't checking up for it.
And Charlotte now becomes more of a victory lap because, yes, by our math, unofficially, over 500 points clear of the cut line, which would make you a virtual lock for the second round of the qualifying series. So I guess you're just going to have some fun at Charlotte and try and race for win, but the pressure's off, and that has to be a really good feeling, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, we're still going to go at it 100%, trying to get the rest of the Altus guys that aren't yet locked in the next race. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to Charlotte. Just going to kind of take it as an off week, have some fun. Try not to wreck anybody else that's point racing.
Ryan Doucette comes home second. Congratulations on your podium finish from all of us at FTF_GG. And thanks for the time this evening. We look forward to seeing you in the Queen City in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
Ryan Doucette comes home P2. Jacob Hits.
All right. Thank you, Pike. And just about time to wrap it up. No Barrett Bonner. It looks like unofficially at this point, Bonner is out by 13 points. Math very unofficial at this point, and it's been updating as I've been going through it. But the way it looks, 110th on back with the drop are out. This includes Bonner. This includes drivers like Derek Fulton, some familiar names, Garrett Conrath, Christian Budd, Michael P. Frisch, that all look like they're on the outside looking in and will be on the outside until next year. Obviously, we'll get confirmed stuff by the time we come back in 2 weeks. Now, obviously, we look at the other side of the coin. 30 drivers are locked in. The top 29 plus Daniel Falkingham, who's in 32nd. The math is a little goofy. Somebody, I'm sure, will explain it to us by the time we get done in the next 2 weeks. Hits, Pike, yes, definitely Caleb.
Yeah, this is me.
What a race what a race we had here tonight, though, here at Kansas.
Right, I guess I have to start here. Very much a tale of two halves. And whoa, look at that! Look at that!
It's magic.
It's magic, yeah. Caleb Hoffman appears from absolutely nowhere. Crazy technology, right? Wildest thing. But no, a tale of two halves, no question. We saw pretty much textbook green flag strategy up until the differences in tires between Terlinde and I forget who got into him. It'll come back to me at some point later.
Landon Mills.
But once they got together, off of pit strategy, mind you, because it was the difference in fresh tires and closing rate that caused that wreck. Then everything went out the window, and we ended up with a very entertaining race that you really didn't know where it was going to twist or turn. And so the question will be whether or not we get the same thing in my backyard in 2 weeks' time.
Caleb, you were only here for half the race, but you saw the wilder half. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, coming in right around that first caution mark, I mean, you know, it was definitely looking like it was going to be, you know, kind of that slower paced, kind of methodically marching through cars through pit strategy type thing until we got that first caution. And once we got that first caution, it seemed like all bets were off, and we just kept getting cautions as tensions and intensity just kept rising throughout those restarts. So, you know, absolutely a very entertaining race today. It was, you know, great to see, you know, how those fresh tires interacted on those restarts. You saw the 3, the 4 wide, you know, really got a mix of everything tonight. And congratulations to Brendan Kohler on winning what was a very entertaining race from Kansas.
So drivers on the outside looking in that were in this split tonight. Michael Fenlison, last man on earth, 170 points outside the top 70. He is the line. He is the last person that has a shot to make it in 2 weeks' time when we go to Charlotte. Other names, Nate Stewart, yes, he's still got a shot. Caden Rush, he's 159 points out. Landon Mills, 129 points out. These numbers all unofficial at this point. Scrolling through the rest of the list, seeing if I find any names that I recognize from tonight's split. Doesn't look like it. The cutoff line, Landon Huffman. He's 10 to the good. As of this moment, Chris Willite, he was in tonight's race. He's 11 to the good in 69th position. Wyatt Tinsley, remember that win he had at Dover? It was key. He's at 63rd with the drop. 51 points to the good. Liam Sheen, 56th. 92 points to the good. There's going to be a lot of jockeying around in these couple of splits in 2 weeks' time when we go to Charlotte. It's going to be a long night. But it's going to be very, very interesting. And again, reminder, we want to cover 4 different splits in 2 weeks' time. We need your help to do so. If you'd like to help us out, you know, sponsorship-wise, there are plenty of opportunities for you. Go to ftfracingleague@gmail.com, and we'll get you set up from there. In the meantime, for Zach Johnson, our producer, for Justin Malillo down on pit road, and for Caleb Hoffman and James Pike alongside me, I'm Jacob Pitts. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a fun night here from Kansas. We will see you in 2 weeks from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Till then, take care and good night.